Hey Ganger Bros, what's up? It's your buddy Rue, and welcome back to the final episode of Rue Played Dead Rising. We're almost through with the game, can you believe it? I can't believe it myself, it has only been 5 episodes or something like that. But nevertheless, what did we talk about in the last episode? Last time we followed Khalid's plan of blowing up the mall, and had to say goodbye to Brad. That was really sad. And today, we are going to take a closer look on Case 8 and the true ending of Dead Rising. So why don't we stop talking and just jump right back into the action. Case 8 picks up back at the security room where Frank, Isabella and Jesse are talking about what they are gonna do next. And Isabella is suggesting to taking Frank to Khalid's hideout, to his computer, to find out what he's up to, if there is anything else he's up to besides blowing up the mall. And after they arrive in the hideout that's located in the North Plaza, they find his laptop, which is, of course, password protected. What else?
What's this cable?
It looks like part of a jamming device. I won't be able to disable it unless I log in.
Yeah, but why don't they just cut the cord or destroy the device? I guess that would be too easy. Nevertheless, Jessie is calling Frank that she found Khalid. He's being held hostage by a really big dude, the butcher of seance and food and stuff, and Frank heads out to save him. This is the last psychopath fight in the game. It's a story-related one, so you have to. You're gonna meet Larry, the butcher. He's a really charming guy.
I have a reputation to uphold. Trust me, I'm a butcher. I've got the best meat in town.
And after Frank defeats Larry, he has a last talk with Khalid. And again, there's some really subtle commentary on American culture.
Hey, aren't zombies great? I mean, all they do is eat, and eat, and eat, growing in number. Just like you good red, white, and blue Americans.
And Frank has to return to Isabella without the password and some bad news.
He's dead.
Thanks to the locket that Khalid gave to Frank, they figure out the password for the PC, they disable the jamming device, and Jessie is calling her headquarters. But they don't really want to help. She tells Frank that the military is going to come at midnight. They're gonna wipe out all the zombies, round up all the survivors, and want to keep everything pretty hush-hush. And that is what happens at midnight. The military shows up, they shoot all the zombies, they round up the survivors, and talk to Jessie. In this cutscene, it is revealed that Jessie got infected, presumably by Dr. Barnaby, and all that's left for Frank to do is to reunite her with Brad in zombie heaven. The only bright side is that the helicopter that's going to pick up Frank is still coming. It's coming at noon on the next day, so Frank only has to survive the next 12 hours. That's a little bit difficult since he has to evade zombies and special forces. And somehow he manages to survive, the military takes off, and the helicopter comes.
Yeah! Yeah, you did it! You did it! Yeah! Yeah!
Now, this may seem as the bad ending, since Frank is still stuck at the mall, but it's the canon ending. It's the canon ending because the game is now going to go into overtime mode. It's another additional day to the game, and what's happening is that Frank is collapsing on the roof as Isabella is saving him, and it turns out that he has the zombie AIDS. He got infected somehow. Not all hope is lost, since Isabella is a medical technician. She worked on a cure for the zombie virus, for the parasite, with her brother. And Frank has to gather some materials and parasite queens, to create a cure, or at least a vaccine for the zombie virus. again, I'm saying zombie virus, for the parasite that suspends growth. During all this, we learn that Isabella actually already made a cure or a vaccine for the zombie parasite, and Kalido was using that vaccine on children. He made a non-profit organization to help war orphans, and he presumably infected 50 orphans, used the cure, I'm gonna call it the cure on them, and sent them out to the States. And they now act as living zombie time bombs. It's not quite sure if it's true, if he really infected these children, but as far as I know now, since I already played Dead Rising 3, this part is going to be important later in the series. We're going to talk about it again when the time comes. So as I said, Isabella manages to create a vaccine for the zombie parasite. It helps Frank to not turn into a zombie, thank God, that would suck. And both of them manage to escape through a tunnel system into the Colorado desert. Never heard of that one. And they are confronted by the Special Forces commander. I think his name is Brock Mason. I'm just gonna call him Brock! Exactly. And they engage in a tank fight that's pretty weird. After you defeat the tank, Brock climbs out and he's giving a last speech, the typical villain speech. He admits that the US government did know about the zombies. They wiped out Santa Cabeza to keep everything under wraps. It was to be expected, to be honest. But Frank isn't taking any of the shit, and the both of them duke it out to find out who's the most badass bald guy in Wilamette. This fight is actually pretty frustrating, especially if you are on a lower level, if it's your first playthrough, because you can't use any weapons. All weapons you had prior to this encounter are gone. You have to fight him one-on-one with your fists. It can be really frustrating, since if you die, you're gonna go back all to the last save. If you forgot to save, you have to start at the beginning of the tunnels again. It's a real bummer. It's a real bummer. But let's get back to the story. Frank wins, of course, and he and Isabella are saved, or are able to escape Wilamette with the help of... who saved them? Otis. Yeah, that's right. Otis. The old guy. Yeah, really. He saved them. If you don't believe me, look it up. And that's the true ending to Dead Rising. In the last floaty text sequence, we learned that Frank was able to expose the experiments in Santa Cabeza. He was able to expose the government involvement in it, at least partially. And the world is shocked. It's, oh my god, what did the Americans do? That fun stuff. But they soon forget about it again. Of course they do. We need some plot for Dead Rising 2. We gotta have a sequel! And now that I've talked a lot about the ending of the game, the last parts of the game, why don't I give you a little, not a review, my 2 cents about it. Well, Dead Rising, it is a fun game, I have to admit. But maybe I say that because I'm a sucker for zombie games. The story is kinda interesting, but it's nothing groundbreaking, you know? Yay, capitalism is bad and we all consume too much. That's nothing new. And I can't take the game too serious. How serious can a game be that's about a guy dressed up as Mega Man shooting zombies with a Mega Blaster? But I think Capcom knew that. They just wanted to make a fun zombie game where you can hack zombies with a machete, you can dress up as Jason Voorhees, or wannabe Jason Voorhees. And that's all they wanted. I guess they had to come up with some story. What else is there to say about the game, except that it's fun? I was really annoyed about the survivors. The AI in this game can suck. Oh my god, it's annoying. It's really annoying, and I keep repeating myself. It's hell. If they get stuck on each other and they don't move, or they get stuck on zombies or attacked by zombies and don't defend themselves, it's horror. It's horror. It puts the horror into this horror game. But trying to save them all is a fun challenge. If the main game is too easy for you, go ahead and try the Saint achievement. I personally tried to get all the achievements, and I almost got all of the achievements. I'm only missing out on 3. Show off. The only one I'm missing are the Indoor Man achievement, the 5 Days Survivors achievement, and the 7 Days Survivor achievement. And they are really hard to get. If the main game is too easy for you, go ahead and try Infinity Mode. In Infinity Mode, there isn't a countdown. The clock is counting upwards, and you lose health every 5 minutes, I think, in-game minutes, and you have to find food, you have to fight survivors to grab food from them. It's really, really hard, especially if you're going to survive for 7 days. Those are 16 in-game hours, and the kicker is you can't save the game. If you die, it's over, you have to start from the beginning. You can pause the game, but still, you have to play the game for 16 hours, and that's crazy. That's just crazy. And I think the reward for that one is, for this 7-day survivor achievement, is a pair of undies. Great. And that's all I have to say about Dead Rising. It was a fun experience, I enjoyed the game, but as I said, I love zombie games. Capcom apparently is good in making zombie games, just look at Resident Evil. And I will be back with Dead Rising 2. I'm gonna tweak these videos a little bit. I'm maybe going to divide them into a story video, a gameplay video, and achievement completion video. I'm not quite sure. But I will be back with Dead Rising 2 very, very soon, I promise. Like always, Kanga Bros, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. If you want to become a Kanga Bro today, do so by hitting the subscribe button. This is Ru signing off. Bye bye!